LeVine. Today I want to talk about bipolar disorder and feeling disappointed. So, one of the hardest things when you live with a mental illness is how to react to problems when they arise. And I have found in my life I've done a lot of projects and things, and oftentimes there is disappointment. And working with other clients, I've had to help them figure out what do you do when you feel like your plans or your ideas are not going well. And that's a really important thing to think about in your life because when you have bipolar, you will try to do things and sometimes it won't work out. My main thought on dealing with rejection is it's not always you. So I've had the good privilege of trying a lot of things and realizing that it's not me that's personally being rejected or failing. For example, if you apply for a job, maybe they get 100 candidates and you were someone that would have been a good fit, but there's 99 other people that maybe were likely to get the job. So just because you didn't get hired, it didn't mean there was something wrong with you personally. I also think when you have bipolar, you could say, oh, maybe they didn't like me, maybe they know there's something wrong with me. And I think that's not really the truth. It's often just sometimes competitive. Even in business, if you're out there pitching projects to companies or organizations, maybe they have many other vendors or people they have relationships with, and you could start to feel like it's you that's failing. But sometimes when there's a lot of competition, it might not mean that you have a bad idea or a bad thing, that maybe there's someone else that they wanted to hire. Another lesson I've learned is that, with bipolar, we can get really excited about our ideas, and that's a wonderful thing. Many of the people I know with bipolar have created books and movies and done all types of awesome things because they are big thinkers and they have the courage and confidence to go out there and try it. But part of that and going out there and putting your ideas into the world is that you may fail and that it may get not as good as you're hoping for. And that's part of life, and learning to say, you know what, at least I had the courage to try. At least I was ambitious enough to attempt my goals. And that's another thing. I've worked with people with bipolar and those without, and sometimes people just are scared to try. They worry, hey, I'm a great singer, but I don't want to go on stage, or hey, I want to write a book, but I'm scared what people think, or I want to come up with a business idea, but what if it doesn't work out? And the person that has the ability to go out there and try it is a success, because even having the tenacity to say, you know what, I'm going to try this. This is my idea. I want to see if it'll work, if it can happen. That takes guts. And part of the real life of an entrepreneur is that you're going to have failures, you're going to have successes, you're going to have things that don't go as planned. But the person that keeps picking themselves up and said, you know what, I'm going to try. And even if I fail 10 times, maybe the 11th time is a success. I was listening to someone who was talking about sales, and he said that a lot of times sales are after the 8th or 9th rejection. Maybe someone says no 8 or 9 times, and they finally agree to say yes. And that means that you have to be in it for the long run. And I've learned with bipolar, slow and steady progress in our career and our lives give us a better shot at succeeding. And if we can pick ourselves up even after being rejected or failing, it gives us the best possible ability to not only continue, but to eventually see success. Because if we do something like LeVine for part 2 of bipolar and overcoming failure. So you may be thinking that you've been through so much, maybe with your mental illness, you've been hospitalized often or struggled to find support, or even with your relationships, it's been hard to keep going. But what I was saying earlier about overcoming failure is it takes the courage to say, you know what, I am going to try again. And one of the best lessons I've learned about people with bipolar is many have a lot of courage, and they've been through hard times and they've seen difficult experiences and challenges, but they are capable of doing anything they set their mind to. And what I've learned with this condition is you may go through hard times. In my own journey, there's been a lot of tough, difficult experiences, 5 mental hospitals, over 2 years in and out, and feeling so low and worthless. But I would not give up, and each day I would pick myself up, try again. And in my career, I've had a lot of successes, but many more failures. And I've written about 9 books, several of them published by major publishers, but I won't tell you how many projects have been turned down or have been told that they weren't going to work or that they were going to be a failure. So to get those 9 books published, I probably put out 1,000 potential projects to see 9 successes. So I just want to tell you that because people often believe that you just get to be a success, it happens overnight and it's easy, but pretty much everyone I've ever encountered. I've had the opportunity to meet many people like Mother Teresa and Michael Jackson and Madonna and other well-known people. They've all had to learn how to keep pressing forward, overcome obstacles and adversity, and say, you know what, I'm going to be strong enough to stick it out. And if that means going back to your doctor, going to your therapist, if that means going back to school, trying to learn a new career, that's what it takes to be successful in our world. And I hope that you remember how valuable and special you are, that you are unique, gifted, talented, that you have a purpose for being alive. God made you exactly as you are. Even if you have an illness, that doesn't take away your bright light, how much you can shine in our world. We need your ideas, your projects, your creativity, your passion, your persistence, your patience, and for you to know it's all going to work out. So I want to thank you for watching this. I'm going to put below a link to some of my books. I have two awesome ones coming out. One is called The Psychology of Adult Coloring. It comes out in October 2016. I then have one about depression called The Depression Diet in January 2017. This book, The Depression Diet, is probably the favorite one I've ever written. I went through a lot over the few years that I was working on it, including my brother dying, my wife being in a depression, having huge financial obstacles. But I learned how with faith we can keep going and press forward. I'd love you to check out those books, and I pray for you today that things work out. Check out my channel here. We have over 660 videos teaching, all for free on YouTube, and subscribe, and have an awesome day, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to be with me.